What if the Browns had the number one overall pick? That is the scenario we're going through in today's mock draft. So let's jump into it, do the Pro Football Focus draft, and kind of focus in on that. I'm going to try to limit my trade downs or trades at the beginning of this draft. Once I get past like round 3, then we're going to consider doing some trades there as well. So let's jump into it. Let's get into it. Mock draft. What if the Browns had the number one overall pick? Let's enter this draft. And let's start it, right? So right here, I think there are 3 players in this draft class I consider good enough to be number one overall quality at their position at least. Ashton Jeanty at running back. It's going to be a tough play because he's a running back, but he's one of the best players in this draft class, hands down, no doubt about it. Abdul Carter, who is more of a late riser, right? He has developed a ton in his final year at Penn State. You look at some of his numbers, it's ridiculous. Pass rush win rate of 22.3. Myles Garrett's pass rush win rate is 24 in the NFL. Has a run stop rate of 7.6. True set pass rush grade 92.9. Run defense, he's solid, 75.4. Pass rush grade, 92.3. Super young, has been developing, right? Up and down first and second year. Seems to have put it together in this last year of college. And look, he's put together some good performances versus some good teams. There's not a lot of bad tape here of him, right? 76 versus Oregon, 76 versus Ohio State. A couple standout games here, Washington and Maryland, according to Pro Football Focus. And then you have Mason Graham. Now, Mason Graham is probably the safest pick in this draft. You can't go wrong drafting Mason Graham. He's a good pass rusher. He's a really good run defender. Run stop rate of 12%. But his pass rush win rate is no joke for a defensive tackle at 12.9%. He's a highly graded pass rusher. He has done this and looked like this the last 2 seasons. So 3 seasons of good tape for Mason Graham. Like, he's the most sure thing. He's played the most amount of football at the level that he's playing. And this is like, if you had to pick one player who you were sure was going to be a good NFL player, it's Mason Graham. Abdul Carter's the upside. Ashton Jeanty, similar. Like, he's going to be good. He's always been good. The question is, how important is it to be this good at the running back position, especially we're talking about number one overall? I see these 3 prospects as equal, which means the tiebreaker tends to be, in this situation, positional value. If we're going positional value, you got to go Abdul Carter. So that would be who you would pick. Number one overall. Now let's look at the rest of the first round. And you get here. And if you're the Browns, Kenneth Grant's there. Really good interior guy, right? You just went Abdul Carter. You could really just juice up your defensive line here. It would almost be overkill. No, he's not the same prospect Mason Graham is, but still a solid pass rusher at Michigan. Really good run defender, right? Somebody who will be a solid rotational player. I don't see the Browns going after a D tackle at the second round, especially if they address the defensive line earlier. I think this is where they'll wait for some value on defensive tackle. You got somebody like a Jahdae Barron, who would be a really early pick for what they want, right? This would be somebody who would replace what Greg Newsome does. He played the slot a ton last year. He would do more of the same, but I think he kind of thrived at Texas this year as an outside guy. So I don't know if I would really want to move him back inside, especially if you're taking him this early in the second round. So really good player, but I don't know if the value makes a ton of sense. We're looking at quarterback, Jalen Milroe's there. I think the sweet spot for Jalen Milroe is moving back into the third round for him. I mean, not third round, the second round for him, or waiting until the third round to see if he falls to you, seeing that you got the number one pick in the third round, right? Like, that's where my sweet spot is and where I start to get excited about quarterback here. Carson Beck, I have as a 4th rounder. And then, like, once you get past Carson Beck, We're talking about Dylan Gabriel, fifth rounder. And then everybody else, I feel comfortable with the sixth round or later or late fifth round, comp fifth round on them, right? Quinn Ewers is a comp fifth rounder. Riley Leonard, if he has a really, really, really good playoff, then all of a sudden he does move into that fourth round conversation with Carson Beck. Curtis Warwick, I mean, sixth round, yeah, Kyle McCord, Jackson Dart. Ignore Cade Klubnik on all these mocks. He's going to be there, but Cade, if he declares, will be somebody who's in that second, third round conversation with Jalen Milroe, in my opinion. So I'm not going to draft him in these mocks because it's kind of a waste of time because we know that Milroe is not going to be there. Still, I mean, not Milroe, that we know that Klubnik is not going to be there, but still something to consider. PFF is super low on Isaiah Bond for whatever reason. I like Isaiah Bond. I would get Isaiah Bond here. Like, I think that would be something the Browns would absolutely do. A really good route runner, somebody who's explosive. I think his value, his PFF grades are down because his quarterback's not very good in Quinn Ewers. Xavier Estrepo is another player I like. I like him in the third round. I don't love him this early in the second round, though, right? Like, just a little bit early for a guy like him. Real crafty, right? I don't like drafting the crafty guys here. I want to get guys with a lot of tools. But if you're looking for who could be this year's Lad McConkey of this draft, probably going to be Xavier Estrepo. Tez Johnson, another guy, like really explosive, super light guy. I think he's like 5'10", 160. He's built like a sprinter. Really explosive, though, when you watch him. You watch Oregon, he just has that runaway speed. The problem with him is, again, durability, weight. You kind of worry about all of that there. So that's kind of what's going on in the second round at wide receiver. We look at tight end. Gunnar Helm, you got some good options here. They keep playing with me because what happens here is what Tyler Warren goes to the Steelers almost every time. No, Tyleek Williams went this time. I guess Tyler Warren went a little bit earlier in this draft. And look, Tyler Warren's not going to fall to the second round. But good God, if he does, I'm taking him in a heartbeat. Let me tell you, if Tyler Warren falls to the second round, we're doing double Penn State. And we're taking the Penn State guy number one, and we're taking the Penn State guy in the second round. That's what we're doing. And we will be thrilled about it, right? Like, honestly, if Tyler Warren gets past 28, dog, I'm doing that. I'm trading up for him. He's going to be a really good player. Just look at his tape. He's going to be really good. See here, what's going on with tackle, right? I think you want to know what's going on. Oops, I hope I didn't accidentally draft him. Cool. See what's going on with tackle and guard here, right? Because Josh Simmons went, kind of expected that. Yeah, we're at the Charles Grant, Marcus Ambeau phase of the draft, right? Josh Connerly, Armand Membu, like, yeah, we're not taking that top of the second round. So we're not going to consider there. We already talked about the interior guys. Kenneth Grant is there. Will be a fun pick. Landon Jackson. I'm going to be honest with you. If the Browns were in this situation, they're probably going to trade back, right? Yeah, probably going to trade back. Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson's there. And I think that's going to end up being my pick in this scenario because I don't want to trade back. But if the Browns were in this scenario, I would think they would trade back. That's my gut feeling here is that they would trade back. But given this is the only mock draft we're going to do where the Browns have the number one overall pick, I'm going to sit and pick a guy, and it's coming down to Caleb Johnson and Kenneth Grant. Yeah, I'm going to have to go Caleb Johnson here, right? All right, top of the third, you got Alfred Collins still there. Kevin Winston still there. Really good safety. Did not play for Penn State this year, but did play last year for Penn State. You still got Tez Johnson on the board. Luther Ransom, he's a run defending safety. I'm gonna be honest, I go Kevin Winston over Luther Ransom in this situation. If that's really what I want to go. If we look at what the Browns have already drafted, we got Abdul Carter, we got Caleb Johnson, right? Let me see what went down with quarterback here, right? Because I'm pretty sure Milroe's not going to be there. Yeah, Milroe went 55. Yeah, now there are other mocks I've done where like I can get Jalen Milroe in the third round. This is one where you get him like round 3, pick 69. You can also trade up if you want to get Jalen Milroe, and sacrifice maybe a third this year and a third next year to go back into the second round. But that's really what the price would be. Either be patient, hope he falls to you, or kind of be more aggressive and give up a third next year and your third this year to get back into the second round. That's kind of where it is with Milroe. Given that Milroe's not there, that's really the only quarterback I would consider here. In real life, I would consider Cade Klubnik if he declares, but I do not think Cade Klubnik is declaring this year, so I'm not going to factor that in. So we're at the top of the third round. Quarterback's probably not going to go here. Kevin Winston is good here. Isaiah Bond is another strong option. I've already addressed the defense here. Safety, I have somebody to fill Ronnie McLeod's position. I can keep Juan Thornhill on the roster if I want to. He's a decent enough run defender to where it's not really a problem. So I'm going to go get the upside piece in Isaiah Bond. This is somebody who could be a number 1 wide receiver if he falls to you. You could also take Harold Fainin Jr. here. Did I take a tight end already? You know what? I'm going to scratch that. We're going to go Harold Fainin here. I know PFF ain't going to grade that pick great, but who cares? All right, now we're sitting in the late third, kind of conversation here. This is the Amari Cooper pick. Now, somebody does want to trade with me. They're at 106. Yeah, I'm not interested in doing that. Donovan Jackson's here if you want to address guard. He could potentially slide over to center. You drafted a guard last year at this round, so I don't think you're going to be jumping on any opportunity to take a guard elsewhere. Carson Beck is here. Well, I'm going to wait and see if he's at 102. Like if no other pick here blows my mind, then I might go Carson Beck here, or I might take that trade to 106. But let me see what's on the board here before I make that decision. So quarterback, Beck, probably the only quarterback I would consider drafting in this round. Depending on the playoff, Riley Leonard would factor into this conversation about here. Already took a tight end, so I'm not going to be too gung-ho about that. Running back, already got one. So I'm going to wait till way late, try to get Jordan James. We see tackle. Donovan Jackson's not a tackle. Josh Connerly is probably the next guy you would go here. Maybe I might take that trade back. Corner, safety, defensive interior. I'm going to take that trade back. Let's go get that trade back here. So you want to give up 106 for 192. What you willing to give me? Let me get 119. And yeah, 119. What else do I have here? You get 141, and then I'll give you 243, 190. How about, no, I don't want to give up any of these. We can just take that one out. Let me get a 6 next year. And then you can get this. And a 7th. All right. So we got that trade back. We moved back to 106. Didn't love anything at 92. And we're going to fall back here because I saw some players that I'm like, okay, they could be available there. I would like them. All right. So believe that Beck is off the board here. We look at quarterback. Got Ewers, Leonard. So you got some options here at quarterback. Wide receiver. Let me get quarterback out of here. Some players here. Evan Stewart. And then what did I pick already? Tight end, running back. edge defender. Running back be a little bit early here. Yeah, I might get Connerly here. I get Connerly. Let's get a tackle. You look at Connerly's PFF stuff, right? What appeals to me, he had some good games versus some high level competition. Didn't really play well versus Michigan, which is a concern here. He is a left tackle at Oregon currently. I haven't watched enough of his tape to tell you if he's a guard or not. Run block, pass block stuff. And the main thing that points out to me is like, hey, whenever I see Dylan Gabriel out there, he looks really comfortable with that pocket at Oregon. So maybe there's something to this dude at left tackle. Not having done like too in-depth research on him, but I have watched some Dylan Gabriel tape, and I have been impressed with the offensive line when I've watched it. Yeah, let's go get the tackle. And then if Riley Leonard is still there, let's see who's in between us two, what the need is between us. We kind of see what we should play out here because we're at 106 and 102. So the Jets do need a quarterback, but we got two teams that need a tackle jumping up in front of us. And there are 2 tackles left. So I'm going to go Josh Connerly here. Let's go draft Connerly. All right. So they didn't take a quarterback, so we should be good to get Riley Leonard here. Yeah, that's what I get. Riley Leonard. Dylan Gabriel in the 4th round could make some sense here too. This is going to depend on who has a really good, if Riley Leonard has a good playoff, right? I'm going to assume that Riley Leonard looks good versus Georgia. If he looks good versus Georgia, 4th round for sure. If he doesn't, then I'm taking Dylan Gabriel in this spot. But given that, we kind of want to see what the Browns could look like if they decide to be a little bit more mobile at quarterback, Riley Leonard is definitely the more mobile guy. Right, he's a massive man at 6'4", 216. I believe he's bigger than that. Whatever he's listed at. He doesn't do well under pressure. His no pressure grades are fine. His deep ball grades are fine. His intermediate grades are fine. Right, didn't play the toughest schedule ahead of him either, but has looked good against some competition here. I don't know, Dylan Gabriel. I just wish he was bigger. Right, that's the big problem with him. He's listed at I've seen him listed as low as 5'10", somewhere around 185 pounds. He's a 6-year senior, but he plays the game really well, really efficiently. He's played the game really well, really efficiently. So if Riley Leonard does not play well in the playoff, then I go Dylan Gabriel. But if Dylan Gabriel looks the same, Riley Leonard has one of those games where you just question everything, then I'm off of him. I know a lot of Ohio State fans have been asking me about Will Howard. I don't know. I don't see him as an NFL prospect, if I'm being honest with you, or at least as a 4th round NFL prospect, right? I think Dylan Gabriel is more attractive at that spot. Will Howard does have some things going for himself, right? Big boy at 6'4", 235. He can scoot a little bit. He has decent arm talent. He's not a bad player, right? He's had some good performances versus some really good defenses. I can see how you can talk yourself into getting excited about Will. He just makes too many big mistakes late in games for me to feel comfortable. But that's kind of the problem I have with Riley Leonard, except for I think Riley Leonard has a little bit more tools than Will Howard does. So that's kind of my dilemma here. If the Browns want to have a focus on running more often than not, they will go with Riley Leonard, Will Howard, kind of like I talked about in my post-game video, where I think they're putting things in the offense to kind of get more RPO heavy. Dylan Gabriel can do the RPO stuff. He's just not going to be a dynamic runner, so you can't do a lot of dynamic design run stuff here. So my mind tells me just draft Riley Leonard here, walk away. My gut tells me you should probably get Dylan Gabriel here. If there's a trade back, where's the trade back here? 118. Don't really love that. So I don't love anything that's on the board right now. I'm just gonna go. Ooh, RJ Harvey. How many more picks do I have? I got so many more picks. So many more picks. So yeah, I already got a running back. Yeah, let me just go get. Yeah, we'll just take Riley Leonard for now. But that's the thought process there. Um, all right, we're sitting here at 119. I think it's time to consider. We already got tight end, right? We went Harold Fainin. All right, let's see what's there at wide receiver. Kobe Hudson, Pat Bryant, Ever Stewart. Let's see Evan Stewart real quick. Nah, I'm not loving that. All right, let's go ahead. Brew McCoy's down there. You can still get like Nick Singleton like in the seventh round on this mock, which is kind of crazy to me. Let's go get Danny Stutman. All right, good run defending linebacker. Let's go get him. All right, Dylan Gabriel's still there in the fifth. I got all these extra picks. Yeah, this is what I mean by like I don't mind doubling up here. Yeah, let's go get Dylan. We'll go get Dylan here. Get Dylan in the fifth, Riley in the fourth. I mean, you're gonna likely be moving around a lot of guys this offseason. I don't think that you're gonna run it back with the same quarterback room. So yeah, I would go two if the opportunity presents itself. Somebody I was considering at 106 heavily. Yeah, I would take him at 165 for sure. All right, I'm gonna take Mukba right here. Good slot corner. And then another guy who can kind of come up, run the fan, play some safety. So like that about him a lot. Obviously, Cade Klubnik would be the pick here. Would have been the pick a long time ago. If this were like a real scenario, but I don't think Cade's gonna be there. So I'm just kind of ignoring that for now. Brew McCoy, Rock Taylor. I don't mind hitting these spots. Wide receivers. I think what Brock Taylor's a big wide receiver. Brew McCoy, I think he's a big wide receiver. Yeah, 6'3", 230. He's a little bit older. He comes out that Tennessee system, which scares me off of him, right? I don't mind drafting a young guy out that Tennessee system, but an older guy, there's just not enough time to develop him. Rock Taylor, 6'3", 215. Level of competition is going to be the concern. Did not play as well this year as he did last year, but I think a really strong wide receiver can have. I've seen him make some explosive plays, especially some really nice contested catches. So I like him. We haven't taken a wide receiver, but it'd be a bit early for him given what else is on the board. But if I don't love anybody else, I'll probably go get Rock. Let's see here. Yeah, we're looking at like shot low, dog. Yeah, like Nick Singleton's here, but like Nick Singleton's realistically gonna go well before that. Um, but if Nick Singleton's there, I'd take Nick Singleton, obviously. Yeah, let's just take Nick Singleton. Let's get another running back. All right, and then we're back here. We can probably get Rock if we want it, but I'm gonna wait on Rock. And then we're gonna take Cape Hearts here. Don't hate him. Yeah, probably gonna go Rock on 207. See here, nothing really intriguing there. Interior guys, Dylan Fairchilds. No, let's go get Rock. Let's get Rock Taylor. get a big body in there. All right, 207. Where the other Colorado guys? Because you know who I actually don't hate? Jimmy Horn. He's really explosive. Yeah, let's go get Jimmy Horn. You see that whenever you watch the Shador tape, Jimmy Horn be moving, man. Will Shepard's a big body. Taylor. Yeah, let's just take a flyer on a corner. No, let's go get Howard Cross. Yeah. All right. So that is the Pro Football Focus mock draft scenario if the Browns had the number 1 overall pick. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below, kind of the thought process that went into this. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better day. Peace.